Hello, Da Vinci. Welcome back. This is Wednesday, the 27th of January 2021's English lesson. Can I show how we use bullet points to list items? So let's get ready. We're going to start off with our first activity. We've got our verb and our adjectives. So I want you to go to one side of the room and the other side of the room if you think it's a verb or you think it's an adjective, okay? So let's start off with this one. We've got the word sparkly. Sparkly. Is it a verb or an adjective? What do we think? Sparkly. Can you do sparkly? Or is it something you describe? Is it a describing word? What do we think? It's going to be an adjective. It's a describing word. We describe something as, oh, a really sparkly dress. So let's have a look. Let's do the word wash. Wash. What do we think? Do we wash our hands? Or do we say, ooh, you've got a very nice wash car? It's a verb. You wash a car. You can't have a very washed car. Doesn't really make sense, that. Clean. What do we think? So if wash was a verb, does that mean that clean, which is also like wash, is that a verb as well, or is something very clean? Is that an adjective? What do we think? What do we think? Should we try adjective? It's an adjective. Whew, that was a close one. I think there's a few examples where we use the word clean as a verb, but actually it is an adjective. You've got a very clean house. So the word terrible. What do we think? Can you do terrible? Is terrible something you can do? Or is it a describing word? It's a describing word. Fly. What do we think? Fly, verb, adjective. Well, I would like to fly somewhere. It's a verb. It's a doing word. The bird flew. It's a doing word. Right. Tiny and walk. Tiny walk. We're going for a tiny walk. Well, I've used that sentence there. The tiny is going to be the adjective, and walk's going to be my verb. Excellent job. Well done, Da Vinci. So let's move on. Here we go. For this, you're going to need your magnet eyes. You're going to need your listening ear. You're going to need a pencil, and you're going to need some paper. So let's move on. Yesterday, we looked at features of instructional writing. The first point at the top here, how to brush your teeth in space. And then the next bit, here, you will need. What are these two things? Can you remember? Can you remember what they are? Well, the first one is our title. And the next one is a list of things that you will need, okay? Bit like an ingredients list if you're cooking. So those are the two things that I had there. I just picked out two. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at the section where you have bullet points in a list and why we have them in this section. So in our text map, the list says we need these. We need a toothbrush, a bag full of water, or a water in a sealed bag. We've got tissue, and then we've got a toothpaste. So those are the things that we need. If we're going to make these frozen berry and yogurt bark, something or other, frozen berry and yogurt bark, I mean, that doesn't sound very appetizing if I'm honest, because the frozen berry and yogurt sounds nice, but bark's what you'd find on the side of a tree, Joe Wicks. So it sounds like Joe Wicks is eating parts of trees. Anyway, I think that's just the name for it. So if we're going to be making these things that Joe Wicks is making, I'm not sure if they're cakes. Maybe like a biscuit. Let's say it's a biscuit, okay? So if we want to make these biscuit things that Joe Wicks is making, what are we going to need? And how do we know what we're going to need? So let's have a look here. What are we going to need from these Joe Wicks tree cakes? For the Joe Wicks tree cakes, we're going to need this section here. And it says ingredients. And that is just like our last page where it says you will need, and it gives us all the things you need to be able to brush your teeth in space. Well, it gives you all the things you need just in this section here, just there. And because it says ingredients, we know, I need all of these things before I can start cooking. And because it says ingredients, it then says each bullet point tells me something different that I'll need, which then in the method, in how to make it, it will say, add in the yogurt. Well, I don't know how much yogurt I need. Well, I look over at my ingredients and it says 500 grams of Greek yogurt. So what it says in here, when you're making it, will link back to your ingredients. Just like in our story map, when it says first you need to get your toothbrush and carefully put a pea-sized amount of toothpaste on your toothbrush. Well, I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that I needed a toothbrush and toothpaste unless I already checked my you will need section. Okay. So moving on. If you're going to be ready to leave your house, your home, at the end of the day, what would you need to get ready? Okay. You're getting ready to go home at the end of school. What are you going to need to get ready? Talk to your teddy. Talk to your teddy to tell them, oh, at the end of the day, I need to remember to bring this home. Once you've had that discussion, I'm going to go through the answers. So the first thing that, or the selection of things I've got here are all along the outside. And I've got 1, 2, 3 bullet points that I am going to be taking home with me. So maybe some of the things that you've come up with were, I definitely need my book bag because I'll bring my book bag to school every day and I need to make sure I bring it home because it might have important letters in. Now, cubes. Now, I'm looking at some of you in Da Vinci class. I know some of you like to take my resources home and think, oh, a lovely cube or a small little animal. I'll take that home with me. But these are for school, so we need to leave them in school. So do you need to bring cubes home with you at the end of the school day? No. We've then got jumper, 10 sticks, and water bottle. Which one of those is the next thing you need to remember to bring home? 10, I'm only joking, it's your jumper. You must remember to bring your jumper home with you because if you've been especially running around during lunchtime, it might be a little bit sweaty and you need to have a wash. So we've got a book bag, we've got a jumper. So the only things we've got left is cubes, 10 sticks and water bottles. So water bottle is the last thing that you're going to need in order to make sure you've got everything to go home. Book bag, jumper, water bottle. So if you're getting ready to go home at the end of the day, what would you need? You need these 3 things. So you will need your book bag, your jumper, your water bottle. You do not need these things. They're not essential for you to go home with. If you were going to make a cheese and tomato wrap, what would you need to get ready? Talk to your teddy. What would you need in order for you to make a cheese and tomato wrap? What do you think? Pause the video now and we're going to come and chat to it in a second. Okay, so we've had that discussion now. Let's have a look at what our things are that we can make with it. So I've got them all here ready for us to look at. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 bullet points. So I can only choose 4 items. Now there's 6 items, which means there must be some trick ones in there. Like last time with our cubes and our 10 sticks that didn't need to go home with us. I think there's some trick ones in here that we don't need to make our wrap. So have a think. We've got cheese, plate, tomato, pencil, wrap, spoon. Which one are we going to need to make our cheese and tomato wrap? Well, the words cheese and tomato are in the wording for what it's called. So cheese and tomato wrap. Cheese and tomato wrap. There's 3 words in there, and there's 3 items that match those words. So I might need all 3 items. So do I need cheese on my cheese and tomato wrap? Yes, I do. So I'm going to need cheese. Do I need tomatoes for my cheese and tomato wrap? Yes, I do, because it says cheese and tomato wrap. So I'm going to need those 2. Do I need a wrap for my cheese and tomato wrap? Yes, I do. I know it seems really simple, but I do need these things, otherwise I'm not going to be able to make it. Now, this is where it's a little bit, there's 3 things left. I've got 1 space left. I need to be able to fill that 1 space so that I can make this wrap. Right now it says cheese and tomato wrap. So I've got all of those things. I've got cheese, I've got a tomato, I've got a wrap. Do I need a pencil? Nope. I'm not going to use a pencil at all for me to make my cheese and tomato wrap. So that's going to go over there. That's wrong. Don't need that. Now, a spoon and a plate. Okay. So I could use a spoon to spoon on my cheese. However, what am I making my wrap on? Am I making it on the floor, on my carpet? Am I just going to put it on the carpet, put my cheese on top, put my tomatoes on top, wrap it in the wrap, and then I'm done. And I'm just going to hold it. But I've got to, then the phone rings, I've got to put it down. Am I going to put it back down on the carpet? I've got dogs in this house. There's dog hair on my floor. I don't want to put my wrap on the floor. The dogs might eat it. So what am I going to need to make sure that what I can make it on and what I can put my wrap down on? I'm going to need a plate, aren't I? Although a spoon is helpful for spooning on that cheese, I can use my fingers for the cheese. That's fine. It's not wet. It's not going to wet my hands. It's only cheese, isn't it? But the plate is really important because if I didn't have a plate, I'm not going to be able to put my wrap down, which means I'm going to have to either eat it all in one go, or I'm going to have to put it on the floor or on the table with nothing there. So that's not really going to be very hygienic, is it? I'm just going to put my food down on the surface. Plus my dogs want to eat it. I don't want my dog to eat my wrap. So I'm going to need a plate to make sure that I can put it down somewhere or I can make it on something. So although a spoon would work, it's not going to be the one that I'm going to choose. Right, let's move on then. So challenge 1 and 2. You're going to make a jam sandwich. But what do you need? And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, okay? Excuse me. You have 4 spaces. The items that you have been given are all across the side. You need to make a list using bullet points like I've done here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bullet points. The items I've given you to choose from. Remember, you're making a jam sandwich. What do you need? So I've given you tomatoes. I've given you a plate. I've given you cheese. I've given you bread. I've given you jam. I've given you a knife. I would like you to complete this by telling me what you need to make your jam sandwich. You just need to write me the list. That's all you need to do. There is another challenge 1 and 2 here. You're going to brush your teeth. What do you need? I've given you 1, 2, 3 bullet points. 3 bullet points. What do you need to brush your teeth? I've given you the options of toothpaste, a tumbler. Now a tumbler, as you can see, this one, it's not a cup for drinking with or a glass or anything. It's kind of usually a plastic cup that lives in the bathroom, and you might fill it up and you might swill it round your mouth to rinse your mouth out, okay? It's a little bit like when if you go to the dentist and he says you want to rinse your mouth, you get a little cup and you put it in your mouth, and then you spit your water out. It's a bit like that. It's like a tumbler, okay? So what do you need to brush your teeth? I've given you a toothbrush, tumbler, toothpaste and toothbrush, sorry, bread and a book. Which 3 things do you need in order to brush your teeth? Okay, and the last one. Challenge 3. I'd like you to pick 3 from below and use bullet points to make your list, okay? So pick 3 of these. I've given you 6. You just need to pick 3 different ones from below and use a bullet point. So you could tell me about what you need getting ready for school. You could tell me about making your favorite sandwich or having a sleepover at someone else's house. What do you need to have a sleepover at someone else's house? What do you need in making a bowl of cereal? What do you need in making a cup of tea? What do you need for brushing your teeth? You need to choose 3 of these and write me a bullet point list like we did on this one, a bullet point list of what you need but for 3 different things on this list. That's everything. Thank you, Da Vinci. I look forward to seeing your work on tapestry. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.